The following is a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio. Want the real story behind the sound bites and headlines? Let's find the facts. Remember, it's not a conspiracy theory if it's the truth. You are not paranoid or confused. You just need to know.
Welcome, everybody, on an extraordinary day in the United States of America. It is Kip Keefer and Need to Know on TKR. First of all, I want to give my heartfelt thanks to Tony Kurre and his network to be able to give me a platform on this day. I have no other broadcasts scheduled, do not have any radio gigs today, no national podcast fill-ins or a lot of the things that kind of occupy my day. So I am so appreciative to have this opportunity on Tony's great platform and all the opportunity he gives me to kind of sound off on whatever's on my mind and share it with you. And I also am so grateful that anybody who's tuned in to listen on this day, where just moments after the inauguration of the president and his address to the nation and to the gathering in the Capitol Rotunda, it's such a privilege to be able to express my thoughts on this day. And I can tell you what I intended to do today was kind of a review of how we've gotten to where we are. A lot of the negativity and things that, I've typically kind of railed about on this show for a long time. And I think a lot of you know that the themes of those of you that have listened to me the last year and a half here on Need to Know, I don't really think anybody can find an example of anything that I have discussed or talked about that have not proven to be pretty accurate, almost spot on in a lot of cases, because again, it's not due to any kind of brilliant perception on my part. It's just simple common sense of looking at a situation from a logical standpoint and really seeing the fallacies and the self-serving motivations behind so much of what we've witnessed in this country. Basically, the attempt by we're just going to call them what they are, Marxist elements who hate the foundation of this country, hate its founding principles, really just been wanting to transform the greatest experiment, the most audacious attempt at a completely representative government. They don't believe in that. They believe that the Harvard and Yale and Ivy League educated elites and all of these old world people that just think that government is some kind of birthright privilege and not something that can be left to ordinary Moes and Joes out there, aka you and I. This is our government. I thought Amy Klobuchar, the senator from Minnesota, who's a pretty strong liberal in her own right, really articulated something that I heartily agreed with in some of the opening remarks today at the ceremony, when she said this is a government where every single citizen basically has a seat at the table. And that is the way it's supposed to be. It's the way it was conceived to be. And we've had such a revitalization of spirit this morning that I want to talk about first the amazing parallels of the fact that this day has fallen on the first Monday, or the third Monday, I should say, in January. That is set in stone right now by our Constitution, that January 20th is the day that the new president or the current president, whoever wins the election in November, January 20th at high noon. And there were some glitches in the thing today. Carrie Underwood's music wouldn't come up, which is kind of sad that we didn't get to hear her rendition of God Bless America, but she improvised and belted out America the Beautiful instead. But this is set in stone right now constitutionally by the adoption of I think it was the 18th Amendment, that we would move this to January 20th. Originally, this didn't happen till March the 4th every election cycle, which, gosh, I'm glad that's not the case, because that would have been another month and a half of Joe kind of trying to make his mark on the way out the door. January 20th couldn't come fast enough. And today was such a great celebration of our country, the pomp and circumstances, the traditions that are just ingrained in all of us, to see all the former presidents there, a couple of first ladies missing, I guess their own forms of protest or whatever. But that really is not here nor there. The presidents were there, of course. So we just lost President Carter. The flag was still at half staff for him. He would have been there, I'm sure, if physically able. But you did have, of course, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and the Barack Obama, and of course Joe Biden. So, the torch passes. That's the way this works. And I'm struck with the fact that on this same day, the third Monday in January now, is the day that's designated as a federal holiday, and so appropriately so deservingly so, to another extraordinary American, Dr. Martin Luther King. And I had already written this morning, I had already conveyed my thoughts, that it's so appropriate and so fitting that the inauguration of Donald J. Trump is happening on Martin Luther King Day, because I could spend, instead of the half hour that we have together here or so, I could spend hours and hours. I could write a giant volume book, and I am a published author. I'm proud to say that. I'm going to write another book at some point, but what a great inspiration today has been in thinking about just drawing the parallels between Dr. Martin Luther King and Donald J. Trump. These are two American heroes. These are two exemplary people who have had a lot of similarities in their struggle. But the one commonality, the most amazing commonality these guys have, is that they set their sights on a course of action. And despite the most unbelievable adversity and just fierce opposition that put them personally in danger. And of course, we know how the Dr. King story ended. And he basically predicted that was going to be his end in a speech the night before his assassination in Memphis on April 4th, 1968. On April 3rd, he addressed a crowd and was giving his vision of what he saw for America and what he hoped for America, that we would attain the dream that America is founded on. And he famously said, "I may not get there with you, but I have seen the promised land." It was the American dream he conveyed. And I think what we've seen in just the last couple of months is this country starting to link arms, starting to tear down the artificial walls that were built to divide us and separate us from each other. The greatest thing we have going for us isn't our personal ideology, isn't our religion, isn't our color or our ethnicity or our heritage. I liked how Trump said today, people all over America, urban, suburban, outside, rural, Hispanic, black, white, Asian, all the different designations of Americans. We are a melting pot. We've come from all over the world, but we're not different. The great denominator, the thing that makes us the same, is that we have the opportunity to be American citizens. So for me to have the opportunity today to talk to you, my American brothers and sisters, and just say that I am surging with pride today to be an American, not because the guy that I supported won the election. That is immaterial. What I'm absolutely over the moon about today is that I see it for the first time in so long, that all of this divisiveness, all of this artificially created me against you because we have different religious beliefs or different philosophies on life. I think for the first time in so long, the country that when I was a small child growing up, that I was grateful every single day to have an opportunity to be an American. I think that is resonating now with so many people who say, wait a minute, I'm not different than this guy. I might look different. I might believe in different things. I might, have different religious theories, but we are all sharing the common miracle of being Americans. And the possibilities are unbelievable if we all link arms and recognize that is what we have in common. That is our greatest strength, our greatest just resource. And if we all put our shoulder to the wheel and make this country what it should be, it's going to be an unbelievable golden era, as Trump called it today in his remarks. It's so inspiring to see so many Americans now realizing that we still have the opportunity to make Dr. King's dream come true. And I felt pretty satisfied with myself when I wrote about 8:00 this morning, the very words, almost word by word, that Donald Trump used in his speech, that now we have the golden opportunity to make Martin Luther King's words, his dreams, come true, which again is almost exactly what I wrote this morning when I was struck with the amazing situation that this day is falling on Martin Luther King Day, because I really believe in the modern era, and we've lost Dr. King, as I mentioned, in 1968, but I guess I consider the modern era in my lifetime. And in my modern era, the Kip Keefer era of America, I really think you're going to have a hard time pointing out two more exemplary, extraordinary Americans than Martin Luther King and Donald J. Trump, just for what they have endured, for what they stood for, and the relentless, no matter how bad it got, no matter how dangerous it was, no matter how just horrifying and debilitating the backlash and the threats and the vitriol from people that did not espouse to their vision. These guys just dusted themselves off. The parallels between the complete overcoming of just incomprehensible adversity that would have shrunk any other regular person and led to inaction and despair and maybe desperation. These guys held the course. What Martin Luther King went through in the 1960s with just unbelievable resistance to the message he was trying to convey, that America has a promise to fulfill. And there were so many people that never, ever came around to that line of thinking, that this country started to change, the transformational figure, that just the sheer determination that Martin Luther King displayed, that he was not going to take no for an answer. He was going to move this country and really remind this country of the obligation it had to all of its citizens, and the advancements in civil rights, one of the really great chapters in American history. And now to have Donald Trump come along and coming from a different perspective of heeding the same call that our founding fathers laid this amazing platform for us to go forward. And from a different standpoint, he was calling on the responsibility of Americans to recognize that it's time to rally to the cause. And in his first administration, he had a lot of different ideas in terms of the methodology to get there, being, what a lot of people thought was a bully and mean, and the tweets and all of the superficial things, really, that they tried to use to derail his movement. And this Donald Trump, if you go back and watch the 2017 inaugural speech held on this day, back then, that was 7 years ago, you will see such a different tone, such a different delivery. He was defiant. He was a warrior. Today, he is a guy who's been through the wars. He has come out on the other side of adversity that we could not even imagine, including the completely immoral and unconstitutional persecution of him as an individual by people that weaponize government, that went against every founding principle that we have to try and derail this movement that they at the end just couldn't stop, because so many Americans, and I'm so proud of people that broke generational patterns of being told you can't vote for a Republican, they're against you. These people finally recognize through the sheer perseverance of Donald Trump that he would not be derailed, and his determination, him jumping up on that stage in Butler, Pennsylvania, after having been shot and throwing his fist in the air and yelling, "Fight, fight, fight." It was a message to all Americans that this is worth fighting for. This is our destiny, and it's worth dying for. And the whole message just resonated with so many Americans that, this guy isn't in this for his own glory and raising a volume. Maybe that was sort of the agenda in the first administration. It's frustrating, I can tell you, from a lot of standpoints, when you have a clear vision and you don't feel like you can articulate that in any other way than to impose your will on something you strongly believe in. But this is a metamorphosis of the now 47th president. This is a different guy from the 45th president, because through the ridiculous series of events, and I can again write another book and spend another 15 hours here with you on Need to Know, talking about the 2020 derailment of the Trump machine with the worldwide pandemic, which was no accident, perfectly timed, because all of these progressives, all of these Marxists, all of these people, foreign and domestic, and that's, of course, in the oath today, we need to oppose all enemies, foreign and domestic, because these people saw the ideal opportunity to hijack this country and turn it into something it was never intended to be: a global citizen, a world community, new world order member. And all of these foreign people, all of these old school kind of old Europe, old world despots that despise the whole principle of America, and internally people that believed that their philosophy was going to be overpowered onto the American people, whether they wanted it or not. All of the these platform vehicles that they utilized, and they utilized it strictly for one thing: the ability to seize power and maintain control, which leads to untold riches. And you can always follow the money in every endeavor in humanity forevermore. It's the value in it for them, and it is what's in it for them. It's these elites that believe that they know better than you do how to plot the course of your life because they are the ones that are entitled, just like the fiefdom, the kingdoms, the ruling class of all the old world, that you ascended to power simply because you have some kind of royal birthright to do so. Well, that's it de facto kind of the attitude that these people had, and it's been sidetracked now and has been finally recognized by the bulk of Americans, and it is unbelievably fearless, driven, just undeterred leaders like Dr. Martin Luther King, like Donald J. Trump. I think you're going to see greatness from this president in this administration. He's already hitting the ground running. He's back at the White House as we speak. He's already signing proclamations. The cabinet he's assembled is absolutely phenomenal. The things he talks about, and he mentioned common sense, which has been a Kip Keefer rallying cry for a long time. I have never been more excited in my lifetime than to see what's possible now. And it's only possible because leaders like Dr. King, leaders like Donald J. Trump have risen up, and they have inspired the American people to finally fulfill our destiny. We are American brothers and sisters. We have nothing in our way now. We can accomplish anything if we stand toe to toe and do not ever alter the course. There's a great old saying about no matter what happens, you aim to the North Star, you keep moving on, you keep pushing forward, you aim true north. And this country, I think, finally is in that mode where we are moving in that direction to true north, where we have finally founded a country that is indivisible and liberty and justice for all. And that is the goal. That is the creed. That is the true north that we need to move in the direction of every minute of every day. The golden age of America has the opportunity to lift off now. And in the words of a great American, Charlie Daniels, Marxists, you just come on back if you ever want to try again. We've told you once, you son of a bitches, America is the greatest country that's ever been. I altered Charlie's lyrics a little, but I thought that was a resounding way to wrap this up on this very inspiring day, January 20th, 2025, where America has taken a giant leap forward after a long time kind of wandering in the wilderness of fulfilling the destiny of this country to be a true beacon for the world. American exceptionalism, the shining city on the hill. That's a biblical passage, and it just absolutely illustrates everything that this country, founded on Judeo-Christian principle and overseen by God himself. The amazing thing you're seeing with young people generations. Trump won the youth vote in this country by 36%. And a lot of it is the rebirth of faith and spirituality. It's unbelievable. Just about every guy that comes off a football field now, I give all the glory to God who propelled us forward, and we put ourselves in his hands. This was so unfashionable and so discouraged, and Disney, ESPN continues to try and suppress it, but it can't. The dam is broken. We have had a renewal of faith, a renewal of spirituality, and a whole new appreciation for our founding fathers and what they tried to conceive with this country. And I am damn glad and so excited for me, for you, for our children and our grandchildren, that they're going to have the opportunity to grow up in a country where all of this, America is evil, America is flawed. Yes, we are flawed. We're human beings. That's the way it works. But taking these giant steps forward and starting to band together for the common cause of making America great. If somebody has a problem with America being great, well, they have a big problem anyway, because being great is what the exceptional America is, the shining city on the hill where all eyes are cast upon. It's not braggadocious. It's not arrogance. It is a bar that's set so high that that's what we aspire to be the shining city on the hill, which all eyes are cast upon. Thank you, all of you. I treasure, love, respect so many of you for making the giant step forward to make our country great. And I'm so excited to be on board on the ride and have this platform to be able to express my thoughts on this, the most special of days that I can remember in a long, long time. Martin Luther King, amazing man. Donald J. Trump, the other guy who is just unrelenting and stays on the path no matter what. What a day to honor two of the greatest leaders in our country in the modern era, which again, for me, the modern era is my lifetime. So I'm so glad to still be here to see it. I can't wait to see what happens in the coming days. We've got the dream team on board in Washington that is going to completely reform something that's gotten away from us, that the founding fathers feared and warned us about 250 some odd years ago. And to be here to see it starting to achieve its destiny, this has been a day that I will never forget. And I hope a lot of you feel the same way. Thanks again to Tony Kurre and TKR. God bless America. God bless each one of you. And let's go forth with great optimism and excitement of what our country is going to achieve in this next period. Have a great day, everybody. It's a great day to be an American.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.